Hey guys, it's Daniel from Valve Tech, and welcome back to a new video. Today, I'd like to give my predictions of what we should expect from the Scream Fortress update this year, or what might come. This includes everything from cosmetics to maps, all the way up to unusual effects and war paints, and of course localization files, obviously. Before we start today's video, I just want to give a huge thank you to all the support on yesterday's video. I got in total, I think, like 35 new subscribers as of the time of this recording. I mean, we blew way past our 200 subscriber goal, so thank you all so much. I hope you enjoy the content I have to come. Anyways, guys, without further ado, let's get right into today's video. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. So, starting off with this Scream Fortress update, we're going to be talking hats and cosmetics. Of course, there's probably going to be some sort of new case, or at the very least, the case from last year, just with the new paint and name change, to accommodate it, of course, being a new case. Since TF2 has artificial rarity now, similar to Counter-Strike, with tiers, I'll be breaking up the case by tiers and picking out cosmetics we will potentially see in this new case. So starting out at our mercenary grade, we have 8 different cosmetics that I picked out in no particular order. So our first mercenary grade cosmetic is the Ghastly Pillus. This is an all-class hat that looks really solid overall and fits with a lot of different loadouts. It's essentially what looks like to be a Frankenstein slash mummy on a beanie that can be painted, so you can come up with a lot of creative loadouts. This personally is a really cool one to me, as I love the hats that can be interchangeable. However, it is still mercenary grade to me because it's still just kind of a beanie. It's not really something that's out there. It's more of just like a default, typical spooky Halloween hat. So next up we have the Armored Admiral for Heavy, which is essentially a robot armor suit for him. It keeps the same general design that Heavy has by default, but gives it a more metal and clean look. I really like this cosmetic as it works with a lot of different cosmetics Heavy already has to offer, and it really fits his sort of beefy or tanky persona that he kind of puts on. So I'd say this is still just a mercenary grade item, however, just because it's a pretty simple misc in overall for Heavy, so there's not really much to say here. It's pretty nice. I'd like to see it in hopefully the game soon. So next we have the Modern Marvel for the Engineer. I really like this one in particular, as it fits well with a lot of the other sets, and of course is in relation to Stan Lee, who's basically responsible for a decent portion of the MCU. I mean, overall, this is just a clean misc for the Engineer in general, and I would like to see this one in the next crate. I feel like it could fit with a lot of different cool loadouts. So these next 3 cosmetics are a part of a set that give the medic a Mad Doctor kind of vibe. So first there's the Psycho Slick, which is like some unkept hair for the medic, followed up by the Madman's Muzzle, which is a mask used on a lot of psycho people, as well as the Derangement Garment, which is a bunch of restraints that are suited on the medic. In full, the set looks really good all together, and it's something I would like to see on a lot of the other different mercs, such as, say, Pyro or Scout. So next up we have the Turpin Tricorn for the Spy, which is a debatably very edgy but cool looking hat. It gives the Spy more of a rogue or outlaw style feel with the cigar and ripped bandana. I don't know, pretty short on this one, but overall this is just a pretty cool one, and I'd like to see this one personally added in. So finally, in the mercenary section, we have the Robin Hood, which is the awesome mysterious hood for Pyro. It is a part of a set, however, I just wanted to showcase this one in particular because I think it looks really sick. But it's still just kind of a hood. It's still pretty basic, so I kept it in the mercenary section. Not dissing it or anything, I still think it's really cool, and I'd love to see it in the game. Moving on to Commando grade, I have 7 cosmetics to show you, once again, in no particular order, which are a little more out there than the mercenary, but not by a crazy amount. So first off, we have the Robochrome helmet for the soldier. This futuristic helmet for the soldier is clearly inspired off the Robocop helmet, with the tube metal neck and glass visor covering a decent portion of his face. This helmet can be painted and looks good in a lot of different loadouts, and overall, I just like the futuristic vibes this helmet gives off. So next up, we have the heads off display for the Demoman, which is a futuristic headset that wraps around his jaw and has a visor where his eye patch would normally be. This cosmetic can be painted and comes in 2 different styles, one with and without the antenna on the demo's left side. I like this cosmetic just because the visor that be used to track enemies is on this eye patch, so obviously it doesn't help him at all, which is just kind of adding to the humor of the game. So next up we have the Critical Vision for Medic, which gives him another like Robocop inspired helmet, however it has a double slit visor and can be paintable. I like that the visor looks similar to the Kritzkrieg, implying the Critical Vision name that this headgear has. This is just another futuristic cosmetic that I hope to see added. So next up we have a misc for Medic called the Experiment Number 5, and this one is personally one of my favorite ones on this list. It's essentially Heavy's head in a glass jar being propelled by a little rocket under it, allowing it to float and follow the Medic around. It comes in 2 different styles, one with a normal Heavy head, and another with a zombie version of his head. It can be painted and has facial expression so the Heavy can look around and jiggle in the jar. It's a really fun cosmetic, and I hope to see it in the game soon. It's overall just a really, it's just perfect to what the art style and the humor the game has to offer. So next up, and one of the more cursed cosmetics on this list, we have the Monoculus, which is a set of monoculus eyes that can be worn by all classes. This cosmetic has two styles, one that paints the flesh and the other that paints the iris. Okay, but in all seriousness, these things look horrifying, and I hope to God these things stay Halloween restricted, because if I see one more Sand Spy wearing this thing, I might have a mental breakdown. Finally, these last two cosmetics are part of a set known as the Miami Maniac #2, Wrong Hotline. This set is for the Pyro and gives him an 80s style jacket as well as a rooster head. These are obviously inspired off of the Hotline Miami series, and they're overall really cool looking and give the Pyro more retro maniac vibe for sure. Of course, these two cosmetics are both paintable. Alright, so moving on to the Assassin's grade, I have 3 cosmetics to present to you. Firstly, we have the Fielder's Feathers for Scout, which turns him from, well, Scout to a feathery friend, either in the form of a blue or red jay. Basically, everyone can live out their Mordecai TF2 furry fantasy, but in all honesty, as a Halloween cosmetic, I do really like this. So next up, we have the Project Glasgow for Demo, which turns his whole face a certain color depending on what you paint it, makes him bald, and puts his class emblem on his forehead. This cosmetic is one of the more crazier ones and really allows you to pull off some crazy loadouts with. Finally, we have the Invisible Igniter for Pyro, which makes his head pretty much invisible. Snipers are gonna have a fun time with this one, but actually he does have a hat and mummy-like wraps around his face, so he technically still has a visible head for snipers to click on. Once again, this cosmetic's Halloween restricted anyways, so it's not really that big of a deal, because in Halloween nobody cares about balance. Finally, moving on to our Elite grade, I have some different sets to show you. Firstly, we have the Mechanized Mechanic, which allows the engineer to basically become Iron Man. For the head region, there's a metal head, which basically turns him almost full machine, and has 2 styles, both with and without his trusty hard hat. This does work with most hats in the game, so you can really do some fun stuff with this metal head. For the torso, we have Plate Metal Punchers, which gives him shoulder and arm metal plates, and replaces his other hand with metal. This means with the Gunslinger, you can have a full robotic loadout, which is awesome in my opinion. This one is also paintable and works well with a lot of the futuristic loadouts we've seen so far. And finally, we have the Technological Feet, which are these 2 beefy metal boots for the engineer to move around in. These are also paintable, and this whole set honestly could be in any rarity for all I care. I just really want these to be added into the game personally, because it's one of the most creative loadouts I've ever seen for engineer. However, our last cosmetic is the best of them all. The Blockhead for Pyro, which turns his head into a pixel Minecraft style head. It's Gamisk, so you can use eye misks or a hat with it, and it all looks really well. It comes in 3 different styles: Cubism, which is the default Pyro head but pixelated; Constructed, which makes it look like it was made out of oak wood; and finally, Cursed. Pyro chest isn't real, it can't hurt you. Pyro chest isn't real, it can't hurt you.
Pyro chest isn't real, it can't.
For maps, I picked out 5 in no particular order that I think are personally really awesome. I'm gonna tread kind of lightly on these because exploring all the maps will make this video drag on way longer, so I'll briefly cover each of the maps. First off, we have Laughter, which is just an awesome map. It's a spooky carnival design map that is the King of the Hill map. Everything from the pure design to the little carnival games that you can play, it just overall makes it a fast, chaotic map, which is everything you need to have a good and fun Halloween map. So overall, I'd recommend this map for the update entirely. Next up, we have Molder Grove, which is a rather more low-key map set in a small town in the woods. Another King of the Hill map I generally like. The vibes of this map are really great, and I think it would fit the Scream Fortress map rotation perfectly. With plenty of trees, waterways, platforms, and such, I would love to have the chance to play this on official servers, and I seriously hope it gets added. Next up, we have Slaughter, which while isn't a Halloween-themed map, it would be an awesome addition to Journal, and actually is a little unnerving. Set in a food processing plant, you will navigate bloody hallways and fully functional conveyor belts to ambush your foes into meat grinders. I really love the design of this King of the Hill map, and I hope to see it not only during Halloween, but if it could go into the official map rotation, that'd be even better. Next up, we have the Oasis event, which is a Payload Middle Eastern themed map. I really love all the custom textures on this map, from the sand, the palm trees, to the pyro tube, to the payload cart, which is also literally a tomb as well. This map looks like it could be a ton of fun, and I hope to see it become a staple in the Halloween map pool, or even if they decided to put this in the regular one, because it just looks that amazing. Finally, we have Peripety? Something like that? I don't even know how to say that, to be honest with you. But it's another payload map set on a cliffside town. From spooky ghosts to cauldrons containing spooky substances, to the payload cart literally being a cauldron that Blue has to push. I would love to see this map in the map rotation for Halloween. Alright, war paints. I picked out 5 in no particular order that I thought would be really cool, so I'll go ahead and talk about each one and what makes them awesome personally. Firstly, we have Organically Hellraised, which is a fire war paint with a skull on it. This paint can either come out a warm fiery orange and red or a more swampy green, and it just looks really nice on all weapons, even on some of the lower grades. So next up we have this war paint called Brimstone Spellcaster, which has a recipe spellbook like texture with a gold trim. Complete with glowing green textures on the gun, this one looks pretty neat and fits the Halloween aesthetic very well, and I'd love to see it get added into a case. Blueprinted Bots is my favorite war paint I've seen so far, and is a yellow, blue, and silver themed blueprint camo with the robots' heads from Man vs. Machine printed on them. I personally hope this makes it into the game because I really like the style of it and it looks really clean. Balloonicorn Blaster is another beautiful war paint that is almost a Space Galactic themed camo with a pink, purple, and blue color scheme. This paint looks absolutely amazing and if added would definitely be a top tier skin. So lastly we have Hex Camo, which is an all black and green hex pattern type camo. I really like the more silent feel this camo has, and it's not as out there as a lot of the other camos on this list. Even in lower grade weirds, this camo looks awesome and I hope to see it in a game. Also, I would just like to mention that an unusual isotope effect with this camo would make it top tier easily. Finally, I'm going to cover some unusual effects that I personally thought were awesome. Firstly, we have the Galactica Candela, which is this cosmic void that comes in lime, pink, and purple. It looks really good and is really noticeable. I think it would make for a great effect and work on a lot of hats, so I hope to see this one get introduced into the game. Next up, we have the Impending Void, which is a black hole-like effect with a purple bluish rim around it. This is another cosmic spacey effect that I hope to see added as it looks awesome, and I feel like it could fit a lot of these futuristic loadouts we have been talking about and looking at. Next up, we have a taunt effect named Ultra Light Beam, which surrounds the player in a UFO beam with little rocks and animals being sucked upwards. I think it looks really cool and is a nice throwback to the Invasion update days. Well guys, this was a longer video than expected, but I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you did go on to enjoy the video or any of the items showcased, please be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Of course, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and as always, thank you, and have a good day.